Hey, this is Joy. Welcome back to another Whimsy Stamps video. Today I am making a card featuring the cute Tooth Fairy stamp set. And I'm just showing you the different images. But we're going to concentrate on the coloring and, of course, on how to create a cotton candy background. How fitting for somebody who's losing their first tooth to lose it to cotton candy or something sweet. So I'm showing a portion of my coloring. I normally color my Caucasian skin color starting with an E04 as my shadow, but today I changed it up to an RV95 just because I liked a little bit of a pinker, deeper, rich color. So I applied that color around the hairline, and then I used my regular blends of E11, 21, and 00. Here you're seeing me use the R21, and I am just coloring in the cheeks. And I find that if I blend that up towards the forehead a little bit and out into the cheek area, it just gives a very nice rosy natural glow versus just dotting in circles. I do come in with an E00 and I blend that out. Now for my hair color, I didn't show my whole coloring of the hair, but basically I am blending an E29, a 27, a 25, a 23, and so at the darkest areas, I am putting the E29 in, and I flick that out, and what I find is if I make the areas of the hair look like they have a smile, you get a really nice natural glow. Some people like to leave a lot of white space. I chose to use my E23 to close in most of the highlight area, but because that is such a much lighter color than the E29, we still get a nice highlight. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I go back and forth on how much white space I leave in my hair. It's just up to your preference each day, but I kind of stuck tried and true. Now I am coming in with my R20, and typically I start with my darkest color, but in this instance, because I've got such small spaces of the ribbon and the dress, I started with my lightest color, which is the R20, and right now I am concentrating on the ribbon. I next will come in with the R22, I believe. But since I am dealing with such small spaces, I am able to put all of my colors down at one time. Normally when I blend Copics or any alcohol marker, I concentrate in one area so that the paper stays moist so it blends seamlessly. But since I knew that these were going to take such a short amount of time, I went ahead and colored them all. So I did the flower on the head, and I'm doing the ribbon. And you're going to see here in a little bit that I'm coming in to do the, I'm going to call it the skirt or the tutu that this fairy is wearing. And I'm just doing the same basic shading. I typically like a 4 to 5 color blend for my Copic colorings, but because these areas are so small, I just kept the coloring very simple. I think this is a great technique for any skill level. And I recommend if you're new to alcohol ink coloring, to stick to a 3-color blend. So I would use a scary dark and then a light highlight color. So when I say that the second color is what the eye naturally sees, it's the mid-tone or natural color of an object. When I say the scary dark, in this case it was the R22, that is the shadow, and then the highlight is where the light would be bouncing off of it. Now I'm concentrating on the star, and I used a Y11. Then I came in with a Y17, which is drastically darker, and I concentrated that in the center as well as around like the bends of the star. Then I'm coming in with a Y28, and I am just dotting that in, and that is bringing out the brilliance. When you add like a brownish yellow to the star, it makes it look golden and like it's kind of like it's glowing. For my blues, I did my toothbrush and I did the swirls of the toothpaste in a B02, 01, and a 00. So I took my darkest color and I kept that at the bottom portion. You'll see that it was like divided into 3 sections. So my darkest color was on the bottom of each section. Then I blended in the B01 and then the 00, leaving in a lot of white space. And I did the same thing for the cap and the crimped part of the tubing. For the tooth, I used some C3 to do a cast shadow where the toothpaste went over the face of the tooth. Then I blended that out with a C1 and a C0. I did the same thing with the toothpaste, but I didn't like the color scheme. So this is a nice trick. Whenever you're using grays, like a cool gray or a neutral gray, you can color on top of it and it actually gives you your shading already built in. So here in this case, I'm only using an R20 and I'm not having to shade with what I call the scary darks because my grays are already in place. So if you are limited on the number of colors in your repertoire, you can always shade with your grays and then put one color over it. Now we're going to get into the background. Like I mentioned, I wanted a sweet and ironic background for this tooth fairy. So I'm coming in with Kitsch Flamingo, this is Saltwater Taffy, Distress Oxide ink, and I am blending that with blending brushes. And I am just putting down a rough blend because when you think about cotton candy, it's got all different colors in it and different dimension. Now I am bringing in tumbled glass with this, and I love this color. This is probably my favorite Distress Oxide color. But what I like is when it mixes with the Saltwater Taffy, because it still has a lot of pink in it, you get undertones of purple. So what could be more fun than a blue and a purple and a pink hot cotton candy? This is exactly what I would want if I was at a fair or some sort of summer event. So anytime that I do any type of blending, I always put down my rough coat and then I come back in into a second coat, and you're going to see that. One tip that I have for you when you ink blend is to refill, whether it's your markers or if it's a ink pad, always refill them. My ink pads are really dry, especially my tumbled glass, because it is my favorite color. I actually have not blended in almost a month. I know that you've seen me on YouTube for the last month, and you don't even know that I was gone, but I actually have been traveling, and this is my first time making a video in about a month. And I bring that up because I know that my head's gotten in the way a few times, and I just had to get used to my field of vision there. So again, refill your inks, refill your ink pads, and your blending will be seamless. But as always, go back and blend 2 times, even a 3rd time. Basically what I'm saying is blend until you're happy and until it's not splotchy. And I use that word with caution because I just got done saying that I wanted my cotton candy to be dimensional. So you've got to be the judge of what your piece of art is. So I wanted to mention that all of the products that I'm using are linked in the description box below if you're interested in them, and are available at Whimsy Stamps as far as the dies, the stamps, that kind of stuff, blending brushes, all of those things. We do love spending time with you. We value your time and your feedback, so if you wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all of those things, because we can't wait until you return and hang out with us again. So thank you so much for that. And here I am finishing up the blending now. I know that this has been a little bit of a long process, but I wanted to reiterate what a dry ink pad does to your crafting time. Now I'm using the Connected Bubbles Slimline die, and I'm using this on an A2 card panel. And I want to make you aware of that you can use things that are meant for slimlines for A2, things that are meant for A2 cards on a slimline. You just have to be creative with it. So here I did a diagonal thing, and I just used some Barely Art glue to adhere that. And I stamped the sentiment with VersaFine Clear ink. And then I die cut the sweet word die and shadow out of white and black, so that way it would match my sentiment. I popped up the fairy on some foam tape, and then I glued down everything except for the toothbrush, and you're going to see here that I am fiddling with that just to get the right placement. I probably spend way too much time on that, and I spend a lot of time putting down my confetti baubles here for embellishment. And I always try to do that in triangles or in numbers, odd numbers. So here are some final looks at my card. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you learned something. I would love to have your feedback. So hit me in the comments below. Until next time, keep crafting. Bye-bye, my friends.